Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Timely Live. It's my first one back. These are our Timely Fit classes, rebranded and brand new and even better because we are just wanting to push so much knowledge your way. We want you to become a better business owner. We want you to know how to use Timely better. And that's why today I have someone who really honestly doesn't need an introduction. Larissa is an absolute pillar of the industry in Australia and New Zealand. So we are incredibly grateful to have her on this live with us, or with me, shall I say. So a bit about Larissa, if you don't know who Larissa is, but I bet you do, so this is just a bit of a refresher. Long story short, she put salon owners back in the driving seat. But Larissa is the founder of Salon Owners Collective, which she's had for 5 years now. And that's an online commission with a mission to help salon owners create profitable businesses minus the stress. So that's big on us. We're big on Timely Life. Larissa gets that. In fact, she actually worked for Timely in the past. Previously, she was a salon owner for 20 years, and she is a business and marketing strategist and industry coach, mentor, and podcaster, which, if you don't know, the podcast is absolutely amazing. And you can check that out on Spotify, right, Larissa?
You can. Lots of places, but Spotify, iTunes, and the list goes on. But yes, absolutely.
And we're very lucky to have her today to talk about a topic which for some people might seem like one of the basics, but it is one of the basics which a fair amount of salons get wrong. And as we all know, most salons these days rely on confirmation messages, reminder messages. They rely on these tools, but can we make them better? Can we add a little bit of a touch to them? That's what we've got Larissa here to talk with us today about. And you might be with pen and paper. So you, for example, might be sending these reminders out manually. Maybe you're not sending reminders, but we're here to talk about protecting your revenue. And yes, you can do deposits, 100% you should. You can take a card on file. However, there are things that you can do outside of that that also help protect your revenue by reminding your clients to come, by helping them reschedule if they need to, and all of that amazing jazz which we are going to get into today. So Larissa, how's it going?
Amazing. Very pleased to be hanging out with the Timely crew again. I love and adore you guys. I miss not being right in on the inside. I loved my time with Timely, but so it's great to be able to come and hang out with you. We talk about you all the time.
Oh, yeah, Larissa, you're so fantastic. And honestly, Larissa made such a big impact in helping us be better for salons and still does. So incredibly grateful to have you here with me. I am going to start off with a question. And my question is, when automated reminders were released into the world, which I'm not sure how many years ago this was, I'm assuming about a decade plus now, what difference did it make to salons?
Well, I think immediately it reduced no-shows. And I think that's super impactful for keeping revenue up. And no-shows are expensive. And if we don't manage them or we don't care for them, then it can really impact our total sales. So I think that was the better thing. The other thing, I think it's a good user experience. Clients are better informed. They would know when to turn up, remember to turn up. So that's actually useful for them. Clients actually want to come and see us. They want to have their hair done. They want their beauty services done. And if they miss out because of bad management, then it's annoying for them as well as it's annoying for us. So I actually see it as a useful, helpful tool to improve our whole service to our clients, including helping them turn up on time. Because I think the thing we forget is, we are the center of our business for 40 hours of the week, sometimes 50 hours of the week, 6 weeks on the cycle, right? We think about our business all of the time, but our clients don't. Our clients think about us probably about an hour every 6 weeks, maybe 2 or 3 hours every 6 weeks. And the rest of the time they get on with their own lives. And so it's easy for them to forget, and it's useful for us to remind them. Everybody wins, I think.
100%. So if you're not using reminders at the moment, maybe you're with pen and paper, it's a bonus all round, really.
100%. I think it's almost at the point now in 2021 that it's an expectation, actually. we get reminders for all sorts of things in our lives, catching an aeroplane, all of those things. There is a world of digital connection now, and I think if we're not doing that, then we're not part of that, not even an elite group, everyday practice group. We get reminders when we go to the doctor, when we go to the dentist. We're used to being communicated with digitally, whether it's text or messenger or email. So I think there's definitely an expectation. And the downside to the whole, I'll say the whole world, to a lot of businesses and industries, reminding is that sometimes clients get a little bit lazy and they start to expect it. And if they don't get it, then they assume that the appointment doesn't exist. And so we're kind of making a rod for our own back if we don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened to me the other day. I had an appointment with a nurse, and she, for some reason, all their doctors, they all get reminder text messages, but the nurses at the practice didn't, and I missed my appointment. And I was like, oh, exactly. I thought that I would get a reminder message. I was expecting it because I'd had one before, and I said, oh yeah, no, the nurses don't get them. And I was like, in my head, I was like, how am I supposed to remember them?
That's right.
We're not back in the 80s and the 90s where we all carry around like little diaries. We put things on our phone if we remember, and sometimes we say we're going to and we don't. So it's really a crucial part of, I guess, the world today.
I think so too, and I think that's a really good example, Alex, that we also need to be consistent with what we do. So if we start something and the behaviour is, hello, Haley Jane, the behaviour is that we remind you, then we actually need to commit to that as a business owner and commit to that behaviour and be consistent. So even if the apprentice, for example, is doing the service, or we only confirm colours but we don't confirm haircuts, then actually we're sending mixed messages to our clients and they don't know what to expect from us. And I think consistency builds trust in a brand. So we must be consistent for all of the things that we do, the way that we serve our tea and our coffee, and the way that we see a client through, and the way that we communicate with a client between services and the lead up to services. So it's one of those things that if I think we should start, we should do, and we should commit to it consistently.
I think
it looks better. It looks better for us as a brand at the end of the day.
It doesn't, I mean, also, reminders aren't all built the same. For example, you can say, hi, Jenny, your appointment is at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. Look forward to seeing you then. Cancellation fee 20%. Or you can actually put in a little bit of your brand in it. And I guess that's a part of being consistent. If you've got an amazing brand that you work so hard on, you've got amazing friendly staff, you've got a beautiful atmosphere, and all of a sudden this really robotic text comes out, it's actually quite jolting from a client perspective, because you're like, oh, this is a really nice experience in the salon. And then I feel like I've got, you know, some German robot talking to me via text. So
I think that's a really important point, actually, is that, well, first of all, in the hair and beauty industry, we are in the business of relationships. We think we're doing hair and we think we're doing beauty services, but really, apart from the fact that we're selling time by the hour, we're also in the relationship business. And if we don't nurture that relationship, then it can be jarring. It can be a jarring experience. And I think when we first started to become super digitalized and started to go online, it was the sort of the trend or the mood was that we were very formal and we needed to be professional, and it was almost a benefit to look like we were more of a corporate company or more of a bigger company than we really were, to look professional. And I actually think in the 2020s and beyond, those days are over. Actually, people don't want to deal with a brand. They don't want to be super professional and super robotic, right? Sometimes we can be robotic in our attempt to be professional and perfect. But I actually think people want to connect in this completely digital world. People actually want to connect with real humans. So the more humanized you can be, the more, hey, Jane, look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 2:00. Reply yes if you're coming. Super simple, or whatever that is. I think the better and the more friendly and the more personal connection, the better. Because I'm like, oh, that's my Salon Jane. She's reminding me, oh, it's my friend. Yeah. And then they're more likely to be happy to or want to hear from us on a regular basis, because it's just like connecting with friends. And I think the same goes into all sorts of communication, social media, and emails, and even the tone on our website. We want to connect with real people connecting with real people. And I think what's going to separate now into the next decade the winners from the averages. I
Oh,
didn't want to say the losers.
no, no, I more than completely agree with you there. And there's ways that you can do this in Timely. When you're creating your reminder message, you can add in staff name first, and effectively all of that in bold, like you do with like business name or date and time. What that means is the staff member who's looking after that particular appointment, it means that it looks like it's coming from that particular staff member, even though it's not. So how good is that? You've already got things in Timely that can do that for you, already automated, and saving time, but also making it look a little bit more personal and a little bit more real.
I think that's what I love and adore about Timely, actually, is that the technology is so smart that it looks like it's really personalized and really manual, but actually it's really automated, and we can do some special tricks like automatically putting the team member's name, or putting the appointment time and all of those details in, and you can send it all out to everybody all at the same time, but it really looks like you've been standing there on your phone actually texting somebody.
Yeah, but the system does it for you. And I've got a little quick example which I'll show. You'll be well acquainted with what I'm about to see. Oh, sorry, what you're about to see, because it's just how two-way reminders work. So can you see my screen, Larissa?
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm just going to click play here. So reminder messages work like this, and you can see from the get-go we're already trying to make a bit more of an effort here. So this is your friendly reminder of your hair appointment, to reschedule an appointment, and this is where we've put in a bit.ly link, which we'll talk about in a second. So it's a link to client login, so we're adding a whole bunch of value just in this message, and we're saying looking forward to seeing you from Alex at Beauty Day Spa. And pressing Y to confirm, the customer or client replies with Y, and they get that lovely confirmation, which is also nice as well, because if it's a system, if you, as from a client's perspective, you think it's a system, you'll think that the system doesn't reply to you usually. It's just like you're replying with Y, so that seems like a little bit of a robotic thing in the first place. Who replies with Y? And then you can put in a really nice confirmation, automatic, and it just, how nice. I think that is really lovely, to be honest. It actually seems like it's coming from a person that way. And the cool thing is if you go to set, click on that link as a customer, you can reschedule your appointment. And with the Y, it goes from a penciled in appointment, which has the lines on it, automatically when it gets that reply, it goes and it turns the solid color. And what that means is it's confirmed. So you can have these confirmation messages not only working for you, but also working for your client. So it's a win-win either way.
I love that. I love a bit of automation that saves me having to do the work.
Yeah, it's fantastic to have things that are all automated and saving you time. And about reminders, how often should they be? I mean, they should be sent per appointment, obviously, but how far before an appointment would you recommend?
Okay, I think this is a really good question, and I actually don't have one answer. I think the answer is dependent on what's happening inside of your business. I think if you're a newer business, or you have team members that are newer and are trying to build, and you have a lot of white space, I think you can afford to do it 24 hours. The closer you can get it to the appointment time, the better, leaving a little bit of time for the client to have life, need to change, stuff that comes up, life happens, right? So I think 24 hours is a good standard. But I think as your business starts to grow, your team starts to be more established and have a bigger clientele, I think sometimes it makes sense to stretch that out to 48 hours. And the reason you want to do that is that really, if time is precious and you don't have a lot of time left to sell, you want enough time to be able to resell that appointment time. And so 48 hours gives you enough time to go back out to your database, text all of the clients that haven't come back for in the last 6 weeks, for example, and refill that appointment, whether you send an email, a text message, post on social media, you want to be able to fill that. So I think as you start to become busier, maybe you've got a cancellation list, you need to stretch that time out a little bit more. And I think too, if you've got a heavy rebooking culture and you are booked far in advance, then I would even implement a 2 or 3 days, even up to 1 week email to remind those clients that booked 6, 7, weeks ago, because like I said, unless they get it into their appointment calendar before they leave your front desk, then life can go by, life changes, and you want to make sure that they've remembered. Like I said, they're not thinking about us every day of the week like we're thinking about our own business. They are only thinking about us either when their skin is not looking great, their fringe is too long and they can't see, then they think about us. So we need to remind them with a little bit of time, especially if you've got a clientele that are typically challenged with time. My salon was in the CBD, and so we had a lot of corporate clients who had really busy schedules, and they changed often. And so we wanted to give them that little bit of an earlier reminder so they had the time to reorganize their life, organize childcare or whatever they have to do, so they could make sure that they still had time to prioritize for us. So I think it just depends on where you're at. But I think start with 24 hours until you're in high demand.
I think that that's really important though. If you've got rebooking culture and some people can forget about their appointments and all of a sudden they're on holiday and they get this appointment, and let's say back in the olden days, they might have been overseas. You know, that they might get this text, let's say when they're in Fiji. Oh geez, I wish I was in Fiji. But let's say they get the text while they're in Fiji and they're like, oh my gosh, 24 hours? I'm not even in the country. So if you've got that rebooking culture, it just means it helps your calendar as well, particularly if you're busy, particularly if you've got a waiting list that you want to look after as well to give new clients your experience. So use the reminder email that Timely has, and so a week beforehand, and maybe if you're super busy, would you do that? And what if you weren't so like super busy, you're just kind of growing your clientele, would you do email a few days before the appointment?
I think just for those that have an appointment in the lead, already have the pre-booking, send the email. Again, it's automated. You don't have to think about it. You set it up once and it's done. And then the text message 24 hours. I think that's plenty. And I think it's important to do that because if clients need to reschedule and they can't get back in, or if they miss the appointment and they become a no-show, unfortunately, it's an inconvenience to them as much as it's an inconvenience to us. And I think we can often end up with the blame when they've got the time wrong and they turn up at 2 instead of 3, and then they can't commit to that. They've changed their lives for that, even though sometimes most of the time it's the client's fault. Unfortunately, as a brand, we still get the stick and they can blame us a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's just the way that it goes.
Yeah, I mean, what's that saying? The customer's always right, even though sometimes they're really, really wrong. You know, we're trying to keep them in the end of the day, so we're always saying sorry, even when it's not our fault.
Yeah, for sure.
Another thing so I mentioned it a little bit previously, but you saw in that message, if you've been here for about 10 minutes with us, I showed you a little demo where we sent a reminder message and it had a little short link in it, which linked off to client login. And this is where client login, a Timely feature, can be really handy because it lets your clients not only view their upcoming appointments just very easily, but they can also reschedule if they need to, if they get busy, or if something happens. If you've set that appointment reminder 48 hours in advance and you have a cancellation policy of, let's say, 24 hours. So you're giving them that time to sort out their lives. We were talking about this in a previous meeting, Larissa and I, but allowing your clients to reschedule is actually pretty major. And a lot of people don't like talking on the phone these days. And some people will rather not no-show and leave you brokenhearted with no one in your salon to look after or pamper, rather than call you a couple days prior and cancel because they just don't like talking on the phone that much.
Or they don't want to let you down. It's like, having a date and then ringing up the person and saying, look, I really didn't like you that much. I don't want to have a second date. It's really hard to break up with people that you like. And so I think, one, we need to, it's actually better that they cancel than they don't, right? They're going to cancel for whatever reason. They've got something that they've deemed more important, or they've changed their mind, or whatever's going on. And I think it's better to know about that sooner than later so you can resell the time. So we actually want to make it easy for our clients to cancel, to reschedule, and actually take that task off our plate. Because if they're ringing, we have to leave another client, or if you're in the beauty industry, you can't leave your client, they have to go to answer phone, and it can be a back and forth of like 7 phone calls. to reschedule an appointment. I actually, before I sold my salon, about a year before I sold, I did some research. I was having a few stints on the front of house, and just to kind of be part of the team. I wasn't working in the business very much at that time. And so I did some research while I was spending time on the desk, and I discovered that 50% of the phone calls that came inbound into the business were actually reschedules. Rescheduling. I was spending my time, instead of serving clients, upgrading clients, etc., I was spending time rescheduling their appointments. And I think, one, my time would be better spent doing income generating activity than rescheduling people, but also it's more convenient for them to be able to reschedule. And the amount of back and forth, especially if you're doing it via email, back and forth to find a new time, and no, I can't do that time because I have to pick up my kids, and they give you the whole story, and actually takes quite a long time. So I think if we put the responsibility and the convenience back to the client, then they're in control of their appointment book, because guess what? It's their life actually anyway, right? If we make it easy for our clients to do business with us, then they'll continue to come back. So, you know, and I think especially at the moment we're used to an online behavioral world. We can order our food from the supermarket online. I can log in to my account. I can see all the previous food that I've bought, and I can just click. It's so easy. Click all the stuff that I've bought before, and I'm more likely to continue to buy from Countdown rather than New World, because it's a nice, easy experience. And I think we have to take the same approach with our salon booking software. Same, you can book flights, and you can change, you can do all of those things without having to speak to a human. And as much as we love speaking to humans, I think convenience is more important.
Convenience is so important. And just as you said then, if I, for example, in the olden days when I used to get on a plane and go somewhere, if I needed to change my flight, calling would be hard, because not only is your salon often busy, sometimes they can't reach. How long can a voicemail, you know, land on your system for before you actually hear it? What if you don't check it for a couple of days and all of a sudden you've got a no-show, but they've actually called you? So it's actually not only convenient for your clients, it's convenient for you. You don't have to be brokenhearted on the phone with your client breaking up, you know, that appointment. They don't have to be, you know, really gutted to. I've cancelled one appointment with my hairdresser, and I was very, very sad when I did it. But I was sick to death and I couldn't come. So even if it's not because you're too busy or something else is deemed different, people just don't like cancelling or rescheduling, particularly if you're really busy, because they know that it's going to be hard for you. Or if you really like your hairdresser, sometimes it's even harder.
And let's face it, it's hard on the phone. Can you do it 5 o'clock on Friday? No, I'm doing something else. Can you do Wednesday? No. And it's like, actually, you just let the person get the two calendars together and they can work it out. It's actually easier, I think.
Oh, so much easier. And I do you have any? So we're talking about saving revenue with automated features here on Timely, and you know Timely relatively well, Larissa. You're in the salon industry. You're looking after Australia and New Zealand, and even the UK and the USA, as we were saying the other day. But is there anything else here? Any last thoughts on this? Like if you want to leave someone with some thoughts after this live.
I think if you're not doing it, I think you've got to ask yourself a quick question: why am I not communicating with my clients, reminding them, making online booking available, client login? You've got to ask yourself why. And is it that you're behaving out of fear of loss, fear of loss of control of your appointment book? Or could you flip it to be actually, how can I serve my clients best? How can I make my business really easy to do business with? How can I make myself part of a growing industry, digital industry, or part of a be a forward-thinking company that actually operates in a smart digital way, making it super easy for our clients, and actually focus on serving our clients rather than being fearful of being online or showing our appointment book for the world to see that how many gaps that I have, because I think that's not true. I think we can worry about these types of things, people seeing things or people we are going to book things, and it's out of fear that we hold tight and don't step forward. And I think it's time to let go of the fear and step into the digital age that we're in. And I think when we mean to serve our clients best and we do best by them, we will always win. The clients will always come back and the money will come. We just need to serve them first, I think, digitally.
I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm kidding. You've got all the knowledge, and I'm just so grateful to hear it from you, and so grateful that you're sharing it with our customers and people who aren't our customers, who are just here because they just want all of your knowledge, Larissa. So thank you so much for helping us explain this topic today and imparting your knowledge. And we can find you on Salon Owners Collective, the website. We've got a podcast, you've got a team of coaches, and you're still doing coaching yourself?
Of course, always. It's what I love best.
Well, you can get in touch with Larissa. Feel free to go through those channels. Tag us in the comments if you've got any questions. We're more than happy to answer. And I just want to say a big thank you from the Timely team and myself, Larissa, for joining us today. And we will be back next week. I'll be back in a fortnight, but you'll be all with Annabelle next week. And she'll be talking about something. I'm not sure quite what that is, but I'm sure you'll see the posts in the marketing for that over the next coming days. So thank you again so much, everybody. And I'll see you in a fortnight. Thank you so much, Larissa.
Bye. So welcome. See ya.